Welcome to Lesson 6. In this lesson, we're going to draw a relatively simple round part. We will put a tapped hole in one end and a threaded boss on the other end. One little feature to consider is this little undercut right here. We will get through all of that as we work through this part. Let's wipe that clean and create a new file and begin this part as we have before on the XY plane. This time we're going to just start with a circle. Click on the origin. You have the point there, it will stick to it. Let's make this a 1-inch circle. Right click and finish this 2D sketch. Create an extrusion based on this circle, and we will make it 6 inches long. Now something fairly simple that we have done before. Let's swing around to the back side of this part. Create a sketch on that far end face. Create a point there on the origin. Right click, finish that sketch. And use the hole command to create a hole. Again, ANSI unified screw threads, 0.5, 1/2 inch. We'll make it a 1/2-13 hole. Let's just say a full depth thread. That means our hole is tapped all the way to the bottom, which may not always be practical in real life. But let's leave it at 1 inch deep. Say OK. Now let's create some geometry on the other end of this part to create an external thread. Zoom out a little bit, rotate around, click on the front face, and start a 2D sketch. I'm going to draw a circle. And notice as I come in here to draw a circle, various geometry, the outside edge, the edges of the hole from the far end, it wants to pick up and project these things. There's options to turn that off, but let's just do this. Click here, click on the outside. It picked up that, I don't want it. Click on it, click delete. Those things go away. Now I just have this circle that I want to be 1/2 inch to create a 1/2 inch diameter threaded boss sticking out this front end of the part. Right click there, finish sketch, create an extrusion off of that circle. Let's leave it at 1 inch. That looks good. Now before I put a thread on this, I want to put a little undercut back behind where the thread will be. There's a few ways we could do this. This will just be one example. Let's make a new sketch again, back on that face. I want to see inside and see what I'm doing, so I'm going to press F7. Now, the edge of my existing feature doesn't show up when I hit F7. So I'm going to use F4, rotate it around a little bit, and project geometry. I want to project and include that edge in my sketch. Now it's part of my sketch. Notice I've rotated around a little bit. I can still sketch right here. If I wanted to orient directly back into this sketch, I use the Look At feature over here. Press Look At, press Sketch 7. Now I'm looking directly at it again. I have that circle on there. That is the one that I drew. Now I need to draw another circle. And it's going to want to pick up some things that I don't necessarily want. I'm going to drag that outside the part. Okay, things went away. Sometimes they stick, sometimes they go away. But we can drag that back down inside. And let's give that a dimension. Let's back up and see what I did there. I can dimension the diameter of a circle directly, or I can dimension between two diameters. That will give me a difference, actually a difference on the radius of whatever value I put in here that I'm going to make 50 thousandths. 0.050, hit enter, right click, and finish this sketch. Now I know I've got a profile in here. Currently I can't see it. If I go up here to view, click on half section view, and click on that face, now I can see where that sketch was inside the part. While I'm editing the sketch, I can cut with F7. Once I have finished the sketch, I can use view and half section view to see through that part. Go back up here, delete, end my section view. And now I want to go back to 3D model, extrude, come in here and find, see the area that it highlights? You can get the inner circle or the outer circle. I want that outer circle, and I want to extrude that 0.125, an eighth of an inch. Look at the direction. I want it coming towards me. I want it to be a cut coming towards me. If I rotate around, zoom out a little bit. There we go. I rotate around, I can see that it is cutting the area that I want to cut, and say OK. So now I have my undercut. One more thing before I actually put this thread on here. Let's add a chamfer of 50 thousandths, 0.050, to the front and back edges of that thread. Notice my distance that I cut with this circle was 50 thousandths. The chamfer that I added was 50 thousandths. So that means that this meets at a sharp corner right down in here. Now I can add my thread. Whereas an internal thread, we used the hole command. Now we're just going to use thread, which can be used on an interior surface, an inside diameter. We're going to apply a thread just to the outside of this part. Let's stick with the same things we used before. It will pick a diameter that matches what you've got there. So it is a 1/2 inch thread. It's 1/2 13. It's a regular right hand thread. Covers that entire surface. We say OK. Now you can see very clearly here that Inventor is not actually cutting the threads into the part. It is simply putting a visual representation on there, which is perfectly sufficient to give an indication that that surface has a thread on it. That is all for this lesson. So hit save. That doesn't matter for right now. Just say OK. Give it a name, and this is lesson 6. Click save. Go practice some of these things, and I will see you in lesson 7.